Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Normally I come to you every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. with a free craft class, and for this week and a week, for 12 days, I will be coming to you every night at 7 p.m. so that I can bring you what I call the 12 Days of Christmas. And I'm starting earlier this year than I have in the past to make sure that people have time to get what it is they may want to get, if anything, to help them prepare for Christmas. Because not everybody is the last minute Lucy like I am. That's kind of my thing. I'm usually wrapping presents until midnight or later, and Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve for those few last minute things that I think I just have to have. So if you're not like that, then I realized you might want these videos to start earlier. So that's why I'm starting earlier. Tonight I'm bringing you a handmade project that, while it may look a little complicated, I promise you it's not. It's very simple to make, and all you need is one sheet of 12 by 12 paper and some glue or some type of adhesive of your choice. That is all you will need to complete this project. So hang on, let me just check my settings. There I am, okay. And I think I've got the sound turned off like I want. All right, and I will turn the camera down and we'll get started. We won't waste too much time tonight. Hang on, please. Okay, you're going to see a little bit of my mess on the table there. And actually that little blue and white thing that you're seeing up in the upper right-hand corner, somebody needs to remind me to actually show that to you at some point, because that is another gift. And I won't be showing you how to make that during this 12 Days of Christmas because I already showed you another time. But I don't know if it was during the 12 Days of Christmas, so I really have to go back and look at my videos so that I can hashtag them all properly just in case they're not. So this is the 12 Days of Christmas 2024, Day 3. And even though we're not quite done with it yet, I'm going to mark it off. So I'll be coming to you again Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We all get the day off so we can stuff ourselves silly. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday again. And that will be our 12 days. All right. So something new every single week. All right. I've got, I also should mention, for those of you who are new to me, who have seen the Facebook post that I don't always post as a public event. I do put on this group, 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives, a monthly creative prompts calendar. And even though it does have the days of the week, it's a calendar, so the days are in order. You don't have to follow it at all. In fact, you don't have to do anything. It is marked so that you can see when my Wednesday lives are. And I did neglect to mark the 12 Days of Christmas when I made the calendar because I made it in October and I still hadn't decided when I was doing the 12 Days of Christmas. But the other thing is that if you see these, I think there are 4 or 5 boxes in here that are in pink, those are kind of like challenges. They're me saying to you, hey, why don't you use some Stampin' Up! Products to decorate an area of your house for Christmas or winter and show them to me. And if you follow those things and do them, and you don't have to do them on the days, you can do them whenever you want, you will win a prize for me. You can only win one prize in the month, but you will win a prize for me if you do one of those things. All right, so today we are working on something that has been called a bunch of different things. This is not my idea. I did not come up with it. I cannot take credit for it. I've seen several demonstrators and other crafters do it, not just Stampin' Up! People. I've heard it called a gift pouch. I've heard it called a loaded pocket. And I've heard it called a stationary folio. And I can see where it could certainly be all of those things. So I do have directions here, and I will post these directions. And I also have ideas, like I had last night, for things that you could put in this pouch, and I'll show you some of those ideas. All right, so basically what you need to create this project is you need to have a piece of 12 by 12 paper. In Stampin' Up! We call this Designer Series paper, or DSP. And the nice thing about our paper is that, first of all, it's two-sided, whereas a lot of your typical scrapbook paper is not. The other thing is that it's very heavy, very heavy. In fact, it's almost what some people would consider cardstock. Not all of our paper is this heavy, but this is a specialty paper because one side of it has, oh yeah, you can see it, one side of it has foiling, and that typically makes it a little heavier. And then the other side has kind of a more neutral design. And when you make this pouch, you will decide before you start which you want to be the inside of the pouch and which you want to be the outside. So if it's on the outside, you're going to see a lot more of it. So I decided that I wanted this to be the outside of my pouch and this to be the inside because I just wanted to see a peek of that because it's kind of busy, all right? So the other thing that you need is some type of adhesive, whether you like a glue or whether you like something like a tear-in tape or something like a tape runner, whichever you like, you use, all right? It should be something reasonably strong, and this glue is very strong, so I feel comfortable using it. You need to have a scoreboard. All right, so this is the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, which is both a trimmer, I always put it out upside down the first time, is both a trimmer and a scoreboard. So you see that there's a track over here, and of course there's a ruler there and a ruler here. This also extends out so that it will handle pieces of paper up to 17 inches, not just a typical 12, and some trimmers only go up to 6 inches. And it has a blade, which is sharp. It's, well, not this one. This one is called a scoring blade, and the word blade is kind of a misnomer because it's not really a blade. It's just a little metal wheel, and it scores or makes lines in the paper without cutting through it. And then we have the darker colored one actually is a blade, and you could cut yourself on that if you played with it. But what happens is the blade, whether it's the cutting blade or the scoring blade, goes through this track here, and that's how it makes either the cut or the score mark. I also happen to have another product by Stampin' Up! We still sell both of these, called the Simply Scored, and this does not cut. It's only used for scoring. I actually like it. I honestly feel I get a more accurate score with this one. However, it's a little bit big and a little bit bulky. So if you want to go to a scrapbooking crop or take your stuff to a friend's house to craft, this is kind of big to pack and take along with you. So I tend to use this one more often. So I've kind of pre-scored this, but I want to show you how this works. So like I said, I've decided that I want this really bright and shiny paper to be the inside of this. So I'm holding it like this. Now, if this had a pattern on it that had a direction, like if it had geese on it or ducks or something, and they were facing this way and this was the top, then you would really have to pay attention because at some point you're going to fold this up. And that means that your pattern that's right side up here would now be upside down here. So you'd have to think about if that was going to bother you, if you'd rather have it be right side up here, because this probably is going to be mostly covered up anyway, or better yet, if you could pick what we call a non-directional pattern. So both of these are non-directional. This just, is Christmas lights just zigzagging all over the place. It doesn't matter. So that makes it nice. So you're going to hold it like this, all right? If this is the side that you want to be inside, you're actually going to turn it over and score it on the other side. So what you do with this particular type of device is you put your paper all the way over here to the 3 1/4 line, and you're going to score, and you're going to do that by moving your score blade up and down a couple of times, okay? And then just to make sure that it really is even, and because it actually is simpler, I'm going to turn the paper completely around to the opposite side of the one we just used. Okay, and I am going to put it on the 3 1/4 line again. You want to make sure it's straight, and then I'm going to score it again. Then I'm going to decide which one is going to be my bottom. So this will be the bottom for me. So I'm going to turn it around so that I have the sides here, and this will be the bottom. And I'm going to now, well, except I have it in backwards. And it wouldn't matter if I hadn't already scored it. I'm going to now score here at 3 3/4, and that will create the pocket. Okay, so now I've done that. You probably notice that there are some things here, and you can score on the angle, but sometimes that's a little weird, so I just folded it. And you've seen me use something called a bone folder. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold over the sides first. I'm going to take my bone folder because that just makes those creases nice and sharp. And then I could flip it around, whatever's easier for you, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, whatever makes it easier. And I'm going to crease that. You will see that it overlaps a little bit. I would say about an inch it overlaps, and that's fine that it does that. All right, and then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to fold on this score line and give that a little burnish, because that is going to form my pocket. Then I'm going to flip it back over, and I'm going to fold these corners down so that they end up sort of looking like a collar. Okay, so I'm folding it down so that it's up against this score line, and it's even. So it's right up against the score line, so it forms a perfect, what is that, an isosceles triangle? Not a math person at all, in case you hadn't figured that out. Okay, so now when let's see. Nope, you know, that's not what I wanted to do though. I want mine to go this way. So now I'm just going to burnish it this way because I want this. No, okay, I see what I'm doing. I did want to go that way. There we go. So then I'm going to glue this down, but hang on a minute and I'll explain to you why I'm not gluing it down yet. So when I fold this up, it's a little bulky. And if you see, I can see a tiny bit of the paper because it's sort of pushing it up. So if that bothers me a whole lot, right, if I don't want to see that and if I don't want this to be bulky, I can do a couple of things to make that less bulky. So I can open it up before I do anything. And since it's this bottom part here that's bulky, okay, I could just come in with my paper snips and just make a little, like an angled, very small sliver angled cut, and be sure to stop right at that score line there. And I'm going to flip it over just because it's easier for me to do it this way, and do the same thing on the other side. I'm just cutting a sliver and that's all, but I'm stopping before I get to that score line. So now I'm going to give that a try again. And I'm going to fold that up. And now, okay, I've got a little bulk here, but it's nothing not manageable. And I don't see that other paper peeking up. And I like that better. It just looks neater. All right. Another decision needs to be made, although it doesn't need to be made before you glue. Sorry, I'm looking for my garbage can. There we go. And that is, are you going to decide to have just one pocket, in which case you're going to glue this shut? Not glue this shut, but glue, well, yeah, you would glue it shut and then glue it to here, and this would be your pocket, just one pocket here. Or do you think you might like to have sort of two pockets? Because if you don't do that, and you only put glue on the sides, when I do it, it'll become more clear to you. Then you'll have a bigger pocket in the back and a real thin pocket in the front. And you might decide that's not a bad thing to have. So we're going to wait and see. I think we can wait and we could glue it off if we wanted to at the end. So I need to put glue here, but I don't want to put glue anywhere near here. So my glue is going to go from here all the way down to here, to the bottom, okay? And I want to be careful now because I have trimmed a little bit of that away. I want to be careful not to get any glue that's going to glue that pocket shut. So let's see. I had a glue here that felt like it was full. I think this one maybe. So I'm going to use this. This is the Tombow Mono liquid glue. And I'm going to make a line from the bottom all the way up to the top. I'm not getting right up against the edge because I don't want it to ooze out. I'm not making it too thick because I don't want it to ooze out. All right, now because this paper is metallic on one side, I want to make sure. And here's where people say, well, either the glue works or it doesn't. But I honestly believe that if you press it down, that if you give it a chance to burnish, sort of, you know, for the glue to meet the paper and meld together, that it works better. And if any glue does ooze out, and I did have a little, I'm just going to take it off with my finger, and it'll be fine. I also have something called an adhesive eraser. You can buy these at craft stores. Someone says they have them at the dollar store, but the ones at the dollar store don't work as well. And it literally erases glue. And by erasing, I mean that it sort of balls it up for you, and then it just kind of comes off. And it gets stuck to the eraser, which you then can clean off later on. And you're not supposed to use it until the glue is dried, so I didn't follow my own advice on that one, but it seems to be working okay. All right, you just go over it until you don't feel any more glue with your finger. And then every once in a while, the glue will get like a gobby looking corner on it, and you just kind of pull that off, roll it up between your fingers, and drop it in the garbage. It's really kind of a miracle. I think I've had this one 15 years at least. So they definitely work, and they definitely last quite a while. Okay, now some people like to leave these up. I think that would really bug me. I don't see any purpose in leaving them up. So I am just going to go ahead and just put a little circle of glue right there to hold that down. And a little circle of glue, I could put it on here just to be safer that I'm getting it in the right spot. And then again, I'm just going to rub that so that the two kind of meld together. Yeah, and I just don't think I want that sticking up. So there's a little bit of a bulk to this, but I think it's okay because it's sort of, if you can see this, it sort of gives your pocket sort of a natural curve. You know, makes the pocket more visible. I'm not sure if I'm saying any of that right, but I hope you can see it. I feel like it's dark in here again. I don't know, but it could just be my computer sometimes too. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. So from this fold here, I'm going to have a line going down. Now in this case, I do want to keep it as close to the edge as possible. And this is another reason for using glue, is that if I use the tear and tape, then I'm taking up at least 1/4 of an inch of space where I could have room in the pocket for something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it down on one side, and then I'm going to press it down on the other, and I'm not going to try to flatten it. I'm going to let it do its thing and have that little bulk or bump in the center. Sorry. All right, now this I really do want to give a chance to dry, and certainly before you go filling it full of stuff, you want to give it a chance to dry. So this would be possibly one of those good times, like I mentioned, where you could use some clothespins and let the clothespins, I put away the ones from last night, but I think I'm going to want that box again. So let me get that out because I am going to use this box for some decorating for tonight. So let me grab that. And I'm going to get some of these clothespins, and if you didn't watch last night's video, if you watch it, you'll see what this kit and these clothespins are all about. So I'm actually going to take a couple of them, maybe 3 on each side, and just give that glue time to dry. I don't normally worry about that, but if I'm planning on stuffing this or even possibly overstuffing it, then I do want it to be glued really well. Another place where I saw this idea, although I think the one that I saw must have been somehow different because it's something on Etsy that's become really popular called Blind Date with a Book. I'm not even going to pretend to totally understand the concept, but I think the idea is that if you know a friend of yours loves James Patterson novels or Janet Ivanovich novels, and maybe you even know them well enough to know which ones they've read and which ones they haven't, you send them one of these packets or something similar to this with a book in it, and it may have a bookmark in it, and it may have some candy to enjoy while reading the book, whatever, and they're not buying the book, they're getting it as a gift, so to speak, so it's a blind date. They don't know what they're getting. I think that's the idea behind it. It might also be that you could order it yourself and just tell the Etsy maker what type of books you like, and you pay whatever the price is, I don't remember, and they send you a book, but it's a mystery. You know, you might even have to tell them which ones you've read so that they don't send you one you've already read. I don't know, it seems a little odd to me, but, you know, who am I to say what's odd and what isn't odd? All right, so those clothespins came from this Rustic Christmas Countdown kit, which we looked at last night. And one of the things that we noticed last night was that there were lots of cool things in here that you could use to decorate with. So I'm thinking this pocket, this pouch, whatever you want to call it, obviously could be for Christmas, and I am using Christmassy type paper here, so this would be Christmas. Maybe what I ought to do is take a minute and show you some other ones that I've made. So this one I made in, I think it was October. I think it was October, at a retreat that I went to in Skinny Atlas. And I made this because I had signed up to demonstrate this paper and do some displays with this paper and the whole suite that this paper comes with. So I did one in that, which kind of is Christmassy, but doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. And then on my own, just practicing making them, I went ahead, let me get that out of the way for a second. I went ahead and I made this, okay, which is, it has stuff in it, and I'll tell you why it has stuff in it in a minute. This, which is just kind of fun and pretty. This one, which is really fun if you're a pretzel lover, and if you know someone who's really a pretzel lover, you could put chocolate-covered pretzels in here and those little packets of pretzels that they have. This one is just really, really pretty. So it could be a birthday thing. It could be a get well thing. It could be just a, sunshine thing, thinking of you, whatever. Any occasion you can think of. It could be something for a teacher. So I'm always coming up with things for teachers, but that's because I am a retired teacher. So this is a little pocket thing that you could put some cards in or something else. It also could be a thing that you put some chocolate in, like a Ghirardelli chocolate or whatever. So I just made some other things so that I could demonstrate to people what you could put in them. This is called a Ghirardelli square matchbook. All right, and so the way this works is it kind of ends up looking like a matchbook. And you take the Ghirardelli square and you put it in here and you staple it just like that part of the matchbook is stapled, but you staple it like maybe way down by the bottom, and then this can just go right in there and it looks like a matchbook. So I put that in there for that as an idea. This one, I think I showed you last night, is one of those things that you put a nail file in. I must have a prettier nail file out here somewhere. This one's pretty ugly, but it does the trick. Anyway, so for putting a nail file in as a gift, I would not give somebody an ugly, slightly used nail file. And this one is a Post-it note holder. Okay, so this one you would end up putting a Post-it note in here and then folding that over. And that would be a Post-it note holder. So those are all things that might fit in these pouches. These are just the holders for those items. And I have 2 bags over here and a pile on my left with all kinds of ideas for what we can put in our pouch. And like I said, some people call it a stationery pouch. Some people call it a gift pouch. Some people call it a loaded pocket. If you're filling it with stationery, then stationery pouch certainly seems like a good idea. Actually, I'm not going to stuff those back in the bag just yet. Okay, so now I do want to decorate this in some way. So I am going to use some of these things from last night's video. Haven't quite decided what. And of course we want to keep that clear because that's a pocket. So, and it is a little weird, but don't let the weirdness bother you because once you put something in there, that weirdness is kind of going to disappear. So I could use that, or I could just use this and stamp Merry Christmas on it. And then possibly have one of these sort of coming off the side. I'm going to go with the fact that I think this glue is probably dry by now. And I'm hoping I'm not wrong, because like I said, it typically does dry pretty quickly. So I'm going to put those back in the bag. Alright, so you're going to decorate it in any way that you want, depending on what the occasion is, and stamp whatever you want on it. Silly me, I don't think I left just a plain old Merry Christmas stamp out where I can reach it. So we're just going to sort of pretend that this says Merry Christmas on one side. I don't want to waste that side of it because I might want to stamp something on that. So I'll take the back side, because this actually does have a back side. And I'm just going to write in my not so nice handwriting, Merry Christmas. Okay, and I probably should have written it further down, so maybe we'll have this coming up this way instead. All right, and maybe I don't need anything more than that. Maybe having this part way under there would be kind of cute looking. So again, you get the idea. That's how we would decorate it. It might be best to wait and decorate it until after you've loaded it, but certainly if you're going to stamp something on it, stamp it before you put it on, because this is kind of bumpy. So let's say we've decided to call this just kind of a typical Christmas gift, although it could be a Christmas gift for anybody. So I found all my gift cards. I've got, they're all now defunct Google Play gift cards, and I think those I gave to my daughter because she had the Google phone. Apple gift cards, and then just those fake credit cards that they send you in the mail trying to get you to sign up for them. This is one of those entertainment book things where you show this and I don't know, I don't remember how they work. AARP card, you name it, I've got it here. They're all, like I said, none of them are actual working credit cards or gift cards for that matter. So you could pop even several. Now this is where the idea of having a flat pocket and a bigger pocket might come in handy. So you could put these cards here. And let's say you didn't want them to sink down where they couldn't be seen, you kind of wanted them showing. Then you could take one of your glue dots so that you could arrange it the way you want it, and you just put the glue dot, it's not cooperating, there we go, on the back of the card, and I'm going to put it in the back pocket that's skinnier, and I'm just going to stick it there, and now it's stuck down, but it hasn't become permanent. And then maybe I'm going to take, maybe you're going to give them a Capital One card, or maybe it's just one of those gift cards or something. So you're going to put that in there, and you want it to show. You want them to go, ooh, look what I got. And then maybe, where's the Apple one? Maybe an Apple gift card. And they could be store gift cards, to a favorite store or whatever. So again, we're going to just try to stick a glue dot to that, and then we're going to put that in. Oh, I put this one in the wrong thing. I put it in the front instead of in the back. So I just don't know if you can see this, but the back pocket is just really thin and flat. There's not much to the back pocket. Now what happened to my glue dot? Oh, there it is. All right, so we're going to stick that on. The Apple one is actually a little bit prettier, so we're going to put that in the middle, or at least it's a different color, I guess I should say. And then put the Capital One card in there. So now you're giving them 3 gift cards, and they can see that right off the bat that you're giving them 3 gift cards, and that's nice. And then, let's see. This I bought for myself. This was a birthday or Christmas present to myself because I needed it for something. It is a very blingy Apple Watch band type of a bracelet band with a very blingy cover that goes on the watch band, and that's because I have a special wedding occasion coming up where I'm all about the bling for this wedding. And it comes in this really nice little box. Some of them just come in a plastic bag. I've ordered lots of different Apple Watch bands. Some of them just come in a plastic bag, but this one comes in this nice box, which would fit in this outside pocket, so I could put that in there if I wanted to. And yes, it does make it bulge, and so that's why you want to make sure that your glue is really sticking, and mine is not. So I might have made a bad choice, and maybe what I really want to do is use the tear and tape. That might be a stronger, better choice, to be honest with you. So at some point I'll fix that, but for now you can see that that's working. And then, I don't know, maybe I don't want to mix up my other one. I have a bag full of stuff here. Let's see. I bought some tea today. It sounds like it could either be really yummy or really gross. I haven't decided yet. It is ginger peach turmeric tea. So ginger is supposed to be good for your digestive system, and turmeric, I think, is supposed to be good for your immune system. So obviously you can't fit the whole box in there, but you could certainly put a couple of tea bags in here. So 1 or 2 tea bags could fit in there. What else have I got in here? Oh, okay. And if it's Christmassy, hang on. If it's Christmassy, we got to have candy canes, right? Can you tell I went shopping today? I don't know about where you are, but where I am, it was just a miserable day, and there was a discussion on Facebook among some people I know and some people I don't know about who likes snow better than rain, and I'm with those people. No, I don't want to get snowed in. I don't want to get buried in snow. But I'd rather drive in snow than in rain. And I know some people think that's odd, but I would. When it rains, I just get like damp and chilly, and I'm just not happy. So we could put a candy cane in there. We could certainly put more than one candy cane in there. I don't want to be cheap. We could put in, what else have I got in here? I don't want to overstuff it, and I think I might be overstuffing. But I also bought some of these, excuse the noise. I also bought some of these, fluffy socks today. I'm going on a trip, and I decided rather than take bedroom slippers, I would take 1 or 2 pairs of these and just walk around. We're renting an Airbnb, and we'll just walk around the house with these on, or I will walk around the house with these on, and then just wash them as needed, as opposed to bulking up my suitcase with, because my bedroom slippers are pretty bulky. They're like the clog kind of bedroom slippers. Not that you care, but I just thought I'd tell you. And then these things, oh my gosh, how they package them so you can't get out them. Like, well, I would say like they think anybody's going to steal them, but obviously people do, or they wouldn't have to do this stuff, right? I don't know. Who wants to steal socks? I was going to steal something. I'd steal something good. Not socks, right? Okay, so here we go. So these are bulky, and I've seen some that are just a little bit less bulky, so this might be almost too much given that we've already got this watch band in here. So let's get the watch band thing out of there. But you could certainly stuff some socks in here, some holiday socks, and that would make it very festive, and they do fit. They are going to fit in here. All right, you could even possibly stuff like half of them down in there and let the other half hang over the top. I don't know. You could do that. So as you can see, it will hold quite a bit, more than you would think. And I'm going to recommend using the tear and tape and not the glue, because I just think it's going to be a better fit if you really are going to try to stuff it. So that could be a Christmas one, okay? And again, that could be anything you want it to be. So if I were making something for someone just as like a little sunshine thing, or a gift for a work person, then maybe I would put in a bag of popcorn, a package of microwave popcorn. Maybe I put in 2, I don't know. And then I bought these, sorry for all the noise, my gosh. I bought a package of these Russell Stover sugar-free candies, because I am going to be making something like this for someone who I know who's not supposed to have sugar. So I might put some of these. It's a nice package too. It comes with Pecan Delights. This one I made really tight and decided not to have the other pocket, and I think I overdid the whole making it tight thing to the point where I made it too tight. So I would exercise caution. This might have been one of the first ones I've made. They've got Pecan Delights. They've got peanut butter, like a Reese's peanut butter cup. There is, my absolute favorite is the toffee. And of course those, they probably only put like 2 in the whole thing, right? Yeah, I'm not even finding any. Lots of the peanut butter, but not so much toffee. There's a toffee. So you could put 1 of each kind. There's 4 kinds in there, and you'd have to make it looser to do that, for sure. And this has been made for a month or more now, so it's really glued down. So maybe I would put some of those right in there too, okay? Hot cocoa. So sometimes I just buy for myself. I buy the Swiss Miss Reduced Calorie, but the packaging isn't so pretty, although it kind of goes with this. This is one that they were selling for 99 cents a package at Wegmans, and so it's a little bit prettier, and it's kind of got the green on it if you're going for a Christmas theme. If you're not going for Christmas, maybe you'd want to stick with this one. All right, so that can go in there too. And you want to arrange it, like think of like a gift basket where you're arranging things so that they can be seen. So stuff in the back and stuff in the front and whatnot. All right, and some of the candy. So you kind of get the idea. So that might just be sort of sweet treats to perk somebody up. Oh, the other thing I buy, this one's for me, is the Lily's Salted Almond Extra Dark Chocolate Bar. It's 70% dark chocolate. It has no sugar added, which doesn't mean it has no sugar, but it's sweetened with stevia. I think it's stevia. It's not like the artificial stuff. It's not the aspartame. I believe it's stevia. Yeah, it's stevia. So it's a little bit better for you, you know, maybe not a ton better, but a little bit better for you. So you could put one of those in there. Okay. Like I said, I think the stronger the adhesive. Now here's the other thing. If you recall when I was making this, how I said there was like an inch overlap here, I don't see any reason why you couldn't make it maybe 3/4 of an inch or half an inch wider, which would just give you a little more room, because I thought, ooh, I bet we could fit a Stampin' Up! Stamp set in here, and I tried, and it was just a little shy, because they're not too wide, but I couldn't get a whole Stampin' Up! Stamp set in here. I could, however, if I wanted to get some, geez, and I put them out here too, so I wouldn't lose them, but I could get like a die in there, a die package of dies, and I could get an embossing folder, as long as it wasn't one of the super big 3D embossing folders. So that's like, you know, goodies kinds of things to eat kinds of things. Again, sorry for all the noise. Oh my gosh, paper bags make a lot of noise, don't they? A lot of noise. Okay. So what if you're giving this package to someone who is a Stampin' Up! Person, or just a crafter? Doesn't have to be a Stampin' Up! Person, just a crafter. So now I've got maybe this one here, because they would appreciate the paper, and I'm going to give them some Stampin' Up! Stuff, or at least some of it. So I'm going to give them a sheet of dimensionals, or a package of dimensionals, and a roll of the tear and tape. That'll fit in there nicely, and again, I might want to arrange it so they can see what they're getting. And maybe I'm going to give them a bone folder. Maybe this is like a new team member, or I don't know, somebody. I don't know what that is. Alexa Rose, shoe size 5 to 9. That's definitely not me. Okay, and then I might want to give them some bling, so we could fit that in this front pocket. And maybe I'd want to give them, I'm going to put the shield on it because I don't want it to poke a hole in anything, a pair of the snips. All right, and there's lots of other tools I could decide to put in here. Where's my take your pick tool? That might fit in here. Take your pick tool. Yep. And maybe a Wink of Stella pen that would probably fit better and look better if I took it out of the packaging. So that could be for a crafter. I found these things in a drawer downstairs in my kitchen. They're, you know, the little tarts that you melt. Those could maybe go in something if you had someone who was into what my students used to call all the stinky stuff, you know. You could perhaps give them some of these tarts. You could give them, what else have I got that's stinky? Hand lotion. You could give them an essential oil blend that you make yourself, like one of mine that I make myself and give to people. And then this is a lavender roll-on. I think this actually came from Walmart. So you could give them some of those kinds of things that someone might appreciate. And then the tarts could go in the back where there's more room. Okay, and of course there's always room in here for a card. So that's yet another possibility, is that you could give them one that you fill with stationery. So this is when I talk about it being called a stationery folio. You could give them a bunch of cards. These are all cards that I've made either recently or in the not too distant past. You could give them a bunch of cards with envelopes inside the package that they could send to other people. And sometimes people enjoy that, then they don't have to run out and buy a card. Okay. And maybe, oh, I forgot I've got all those little pieces of paper in there. There we go. Let's pop those out of there for now. So you could give them some cards. Maybe not that many cards, but I don't know. I think you could fit a bunch in there. Those aren't in envelopes, so I'm afraid they're going to get squished in there, so we won't put those in there. Okay, and then maybe you could give them a Post-it note pad. That could maybe go, I don't know, maybe behind the cards. And then maybe you've got friends like me who are kind of a freak about pens and special pencils and things like that. So this is a Stabilo All pencil. which is really good for blending and whatnot, and you can put one of those in here. I love these pens with multiple colors, so I might want to put some of those in there. This is a water brush, so that you can paint and have water right in the barrel, so you don't have to have a cup of water with you all the time. This is a gold metallic marker, and this is one of the Micron archival pens. I use those a lot. They're great for Zentangle if you do that, or doodling or whatever. And you know, you could even put like a gift card to their favorite art store in there, or craft store. So that's just another idea. So lots and lots of ways to use these things. You could certainly put a book in there. I think it would have to be a pretty small book, but you could definitely put a book in there. All right, so I think you get the idea. Gosh, I have so much stuff here. One of these, that would be more of a holiday one, I would think, but a holiday pad. Picked this up for, I think, 50 cents today at a thrift store. And this one is from TJ Maxx, and the price tag on the back said $6. Never been opened, but I got it for $3 at the thrift store. It's very thick. It's a kitty cat one, and it comes with a pen. So that would be nice. It would probably fill up the couch kind of almost all on its own. Maybe you could fit a few extra pens in there, but how cute is that? So that would be nice. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. If it's a get well thing, obviously I wouldn't give someone an open package. These are my favorite throat lozenges, so I would put some of these in there, and that might be a good place to put a variety of teas in, depending on what their issue is. They might not want digestive stuff. They might want stuff that's good for a head cold. I don't know if there's such a thing as eucalyptus tea, but there's probably something that's good for a head cold. Put some of those in there. So, I think I've given you the idea, and they're super easy to make. And, what did I do with my piece of paper? Okay, so these are the directions, and like I said, I'll post them. I just have to turn them into a PDF to post them in the group here. But I think the directions make sense, or now that you've seen the demonstration, I think they'll make sense. And then I had a list of ideas. Beauty products, face masks, lotion, chapstick, hair mask, conditioner, a comb or a pick, and then obviously I had another idea and didn't get it on there. Cards, stamps. It's always nice to buy people stamps. They cost a fortune these days. So you could buy them stamps and cute notepads and pens and post-it notes. And I think I hit most of these dimensionals. Wink of Stella bone folder. And then money, of course, is good. And gift cards, lottery tickets, things like that. All right, so we'll just, for now, take a look at this one, which is complete. And I will load up some of these and take pictures of them and post them as well. So thank you very much for watching me on day 3. And tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I will come to you with day 4. So have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Hey, Amy, thanks for watching.